We got to talk about the upcoming book, man, The Beautiful Ones, man. This is coming, October 29th, I think? October. This is going to be a lot of stuff coming. This is another one I can't wait to read, listen to, whatever. Got to get my hands on this, man. This is going to be something I think we all been waiting for ever since we heard rumblings that he was working on a book. And then there was an article in the New Yorker. It was called The Book of Prince. And what's my man's name? It was Dan. Trying to find his last name. Dan Piepenbring. If I'm saying it right.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, man. Mr. Dan. He is the collaborator with Prince on this book, and he released a very great article about meeting Prince and being chosen to work on this project with him and some of their meetings sort of leading up to it. I don't know how much of what he's writing here in this article is part of the book or is this something new, but I'm so anticipating this book. I wanted to read a few little things from this article. And there's things that touched me or really just made me like, wow, I'm so excited. And so I'm going to just pull different little pieces here. Bear with me. But I just think some of these are important. There's a part here that says the book would allow him, Prince, to seize the narrative of his own life. Once he said he'd seen one of his former employees on TV saying she thought it was her God-given duty to preserve and protect the unreleased material in his vault. Here's Prince's quote. Now that sounds like someone I should call the police on, he told me. How is that not racist? People were always casting him and all black artists in a helpless role, he said, and if he was incapable of managing himself. He says, I still have to brush my own teeth. That's very interesting. Kind of, he ain't dropping no names. Now, for those who know your Prince, I'm assuming he's talking about Susan Rogers. It's interesting how she's went on record, said it was her job to preserve, she thought it was to preserve his material. But it's interesting how he perceived what she said. He said that's somebody I should call the police on. And then he said, he's asking the question, how is that not racist? I would not have, I was like, wow. Let that sit with you. It's curious that's how he thought about it. Well, maybe we'll come back to that. It was very interesting. He says, I went to school with rich kids who didn't like having me there. He said, when one of them called me the N-word, Prince threw a punch. He said, I felt I had to. Luckily, the guy ran away crying. But if there was a fight, where would it end? Where should it end? How do you know when to fight? Keep in context, this is Prince, closer to the end of his life, Prince. This ain't the young man talking. This is a experienced, knowledgeable, older gentleman dropping, his sort of philosophy and game on you. This ain't somebody just talking reckless. That's why my point is this is an older dude that done been through some stuff. This is where he's at, right? These questions became more complex as racism took on an insidious guise. He said, I mean, all lives matter. You understand the irony in that, he said, referring to the far-right slogan that was gaining traction at the time. A little later, Prince said, I'll be honest, I don't think you could write the book. He thought I needed to know more about racism to have felt it. He talked about hip-hop the way it transformed words, taking white language. He puts in quotes, your language. This is what Prince said. And turning it into something that white people couldn't understand. Miles Davis, he told me, believed in two different categories of thinking. The truth and white bullshit. This is Prince. I don't know if other Prince commentary or shows are having these conversations, but I'm just giving you his words, so you don't argue with me, right?
The purple, some in the Purple Army gonna be like, where's the tape at? Where's the receipts?
Hey, well then don't buy that book because it's coming from the same person. So you make your own things. But go ahead.
We talk about nigga wake up call. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Some folk about to get theirs when they read this book.
Hey, it's just interesting to me. First of all, I will salute Mr. Dan for even putting this in that article because it could have easily just said, "Nah, I don't even want that. We're not gonna even go there. Like, let's just keep it, light." So it's interesting to me that one, I feel like this book is gonna have some honesty to it, where he's not shying away from. Again, like I said, I don't know who else is bringing these conversations to the forefront, like my man Dan, but there's more to it than just the music, right? So anyway, we'll read a little bit more. He says, "I've never seen race in a certain way." This is Prince. "I tried to be nice to everyone," he said. He seemed to think that too few of his white contemporaries had the same open-mindedness, even as they feted him for it. When it came time to sell and promote the book, Prince wanted to deal only with people who accepted that he had his own business practices. Prince says, "There's a lot of people who say you got to learn to walk before you learn to run." He said, "That's slave talk to me. That's something slaves would say." Prince is called. So what I gleaned from that, I opened up. To me, Prince was dropping a lot of little gems. Even when his normal conversation, you can see where his mindset is. To me, I read from this, you ain't got to play by nobody else's rules and let them tell you where you got to take your time and work your way and go through this system. And he's a boss. He dictates the game, not the other way around. And now he put it in the connotation of sort of, slave and race type thing. We said, even that type of mindset to him, you want some slave shit. Like, he said, that's something slaves would say. And he obviously don't see himself as a slave. So he ain't got time for somebody, this is my interpretation, he ain't got time for somebody to tell him, "Oh, well, you can only do it, you got to do it this way." How come he ain't got the experience? I don't need your experience. I do the way I do. So to me, this is very interesting stuff, man. You see the type of mentality Prince had. I'm gonna finish reading and then we'll get into your commentary. Then he talks about meeting Prince a little later on. And I implore you to go read this whole article. I'm just pulling bits and pieces that I thought were interesting. You may think there are other parts interesting. He says, "On Friday, Johnson," he's talking about Kirk Johnson, "led me back to Peter Bravestrong's suite." That was the name Prince used, a pseudonym that he used out in the public, Peter Bravestrong. Come back to the suite so I could pick up some more papers. What I thought would be a simple handoff became a 2-hour conversation. Prince, wearing a rainbow-colored top with his face on it, sat me down at the desk where I read his pages. There were a few packs of hairnets off to the side. Hilarious. "Sit here," he said, again, bringing over a pen and paper. "Music is healing," he said. "Write that down first." This was to be our guiding principle. Quote, "Music holds things together." Since we've spoken at Paisley, his ambitions for the book have been amplified. Prince said, "This book should be a handbook for the brilliant community, wrapped in autobiography, wrapped in biography." He said, "It should teach that what you create is yours." It was incumbent on us to help people, especially young Black artists, realize the power and agency they had. Prince had me scoot in beside him. Oh, okay. Let me stop you right there. So just to dial back again. Prince said this should be a handbook for the brilliant community. I interpret that. Let me give game and show how you can do this and operate. And then what they say, it should teach that what you create is yours. Now, I took that quote because, again, we've had conversations on this podcast about ownership and, bootlegs and unreleased music and stuff. And to me, I always come back to artists should make a decision on what happens with their stuff. And you should respect that. We can explain our actions of foolishness and why it's for the greater good. And I get all that. But I think we should never forget the wishes and the respect, at least acknowledge the respect of the actual person who created it. Even if you're going to go ahead and do what you do, at least acknowledge, I know what I'm doing. And I love that principle. This book, we're going to teach you that what you create is yours, which I was saying, as soon as you get to decide what you do with your shit. Any other thing, as he would say, would be what? Slave talk. Again, that's just my interpretation. Last part I want to put on here, Dan meets back up with Prince again. And at this point, they've really been going over, they get the contracts and really working with the publisher and getting all that stuff together. And they signed the deal. And the first meeting Prince hollers at my man. He was at a club. I think this part is important too. He said, Prince had me scoot in beside him and cut my ear. Here's what Prince asked him. They ain't even finished the book yet. Did you get paid yet? Dan said, no. Prince said, me either. Dan said, I was confused. The contract hadn't even been signed, but questions of money, usually considered crass, had an air of scrappy anti-corporate camaraderie in Prince's world and became a kind of comforting refrain. The artist should always be paid. The company should always be paying. Now, this is my last part of the fact that Prince, in the papers ain't even been signed yet. But what was the first thing? Prince was about his business. It was about his paper. Did you get paid yet? Some cats, said, no, I was confused. I'm going to tell you something, man. I was saying that I like to say, it was called purse first. Right?
I like that.
I would say purse first. We buddies. And yeah, we good. Good to meet you. And where the bread at? Okay. And I love that Prince wasn't even beating around the bush or trying to be, try to slide it in and all that. Just come right from the top. Did you get paid yet? And that's how you should be about a lot of things, man. Particularly in terms of business. Now, I would argue something. I wish they had his estate situation had that same energy, so there wouldn't have been no problems later on. But I'm not gonna get into that. But I love the fact that, and I'm glad that he put this right here in the article, where Prince was about his business, and wasn't afraid, or it wasn't funny style from to just come right out. Hey man, where the bread? Let's do business. We own this. As a matter of fact, let's teach cats game. So I can't wait to read this book. I'm excited, man, because the mentality, the mindset behind this so far sounds this right up my alley. I kind of knew it. You can listen to some of the interviews and the music, and you can kind of say, like, man, Prince wasn't joking around, man. Like, of course, if any man who can put slave on their face and bow out the situation and take what you think is an L, but then wins later, of course he ain't playing. But this is just double down on it. Even in the later years, hey man, this is what I'm about. Let's get it. And we ain't suckers. We ain't on no slave talk. We ain't, bowing down or trying to sugarcoat it. You feel uncomfortable? Get over it. This is what we are. So I love this, man. Big Sexy, what are you looking forward to this book? What do you think of some of these points that are brought out here from the quotes?
I'm looking very, very forward to this book. And the thing that was said about, you get paid yet? Nope, I haven't either. And that's not going to work. This really echoes his beef with Warner's. That whole thing about the phrase, you got to walk before you can run, which I've used a billion times, I've heard it a billion times. It paints it in a new light. That's essentially someone telling a creative person, no, you're not ready yet. You do it when I say you do it. Prince is like, no, fuck you. I'm going to do it when I want to do it. And that was the whole crux of the Warner's beef. I want to do this album now, and then I'll do this album the next day. Warner's is like, no, I'll take my business elsewhere. And he did. And a lot of people, especially business, quote unquote, heads, you can't put a muzzle or a leash on creative people. They do what they do, get out of the way and let them do it. And that's what he's all about. And I admire that completely, because that's how it should be.
Yeah, man. And Prince was pushing that, man. That's what's so dope. Like, and I don't know how much that he finished, on his writings, how far he went down. There's another part, I didn't leave that quote, but he goes to mention the Michael Jackson Bad song, and I think he said something, there's going to be some bombshells in this. Chatty patty, but I hope the piece, or I hope there was enough conversation between him and Dan where they can really expound upon, like, of course, his upbringing. He talks about his father. There's an excerpt in this article, which I can assume it was from Prince's writing, where he talks about his dad. They went to a concert. I can't think of the concert they went to, but it was such a turning point with Prince in terms of the power of music, and it sounded like a turning point in him and his dad's relationship and stuff. But I can't wait to see that, man, because again, there's just a lot of family. I always felt you can look at certain cats and you can see the relationship they had with their parents, their fathers. You can glean a lot about a person, and I think you can definitely see that in here. And then where he grew up and the time he grew up, all of that stuff is important, just as important as the music. But you have to understand sort of what fuels the lyrics, or what fuels a person wanting to present himself the way he did. All of that you have to know his origin. You have to know his real, I don't say his real life, but you have to understand his relationships with his family and the people in his surroundings. All are just as important as, that was a cold bass line, or that song was, that's why these songs sound like that. That's why he presents himself like that. This is his mentality behind these lyrics. So we don't just take like one song and say, oh, that's where he stands. Nah, man, you got to take it all. Like, this where he was at. This was his mentality as a young man. Look how he matured and what he learned and grew. And he was going to give us probably like a blueprint. You know what I'm saying? He said a handbook. That's a very interesting thing when somebody says, I'm going to give the handbook, the blueprint to the game, man. So we can get it. So, yeah, I hope this book it's got to be good, man. There's a lot. I would imagine a lot of pressure on this Dan cat to really, you know what I'm saying? Because it ain't just this is my opinion, it ain't just some memoir or this. It's just the Prince. Nah, man. From the way Prince was talking, this is gonna be on some stuff. There was another thing is Prince wanted to give some history and game on Black Wall Street. That's in the article. He wanted to bring up Tulsa. So he wasn't on some other stuff. He was just on some stuff that most don't want to acknowledge because it don't fit the narrative of just listening to the music. which is cool. But we want to go a little deeper now. We really want to know what, you know what I'm saying? What was he really on? You know what I'm saying? It's just another layer to why this dude was so fascinating, man. So I'm ready. What you, Aunt Pooh, man? What you? Aunt Pooh.
Oh, sorry about that. I really like the fact that you said he's putting out there Black need to do business, and I will say I know we come to why we need to be like them, but hey, the dominant white society, they running things and they're about their business, they're about their money first, and I feel like if Prince, who's a success, who has all that money, is saying pretty much get your money first. Don't be grateful for the opportunity. And I think that, in my opinion, I know Mark might disagree with me to some aspects. We get so used to the opportunity of being in the NFL, being in the NBA, having that record deal, being on film and television, that we do ourselves a disservice to not handle the business the right way, not get the money, not make sure that we're insuring ourselves to the aspects. What are the points? What are the masters? What are the royalties? We're just so happy for the opportunity that I'm glad that he's saying that, and he ain't saying it from emancipation time or from 1999 when he was coming up. He's saying it after seeing all the game and like, nah, you're the artist, you have the talent, get paid first. The other thing is that this might be a shock for some of the Purple Army, but I just want you to, all you cats that got these boots from 96 to 2002, did y'all just skip over when he was talking to the crowd? Or did y'all listen to everything? Because if you did, this shouldn't be a shock to you. Because he was talking about this. I remember the hit and run shows in 2000. He was stopping and dropping some heavy game about he went in on Napster, like how they getting paid off of my work, but I ain't getting paid off of that. I remember that. That's when he put out When Will We Get Paid? So don't act like this is a shock. And don't get your feelings hurt either.
Shout out to Napster.
I
shout
don't
out to
disagree.
Spotify. I'm sorry.
Oh, fuck Spotify.
that was petty.
I don't disagree with anything Ann just said. In fact, I have always been, with my athletes and my artists, get in the room, know what you're making, know how this is working. I remember reading in Paul Stanley's biography a few years ago, one of his managers was saying, hey, Paul, you made this much on the tour. And Paul thought, you know what? I should have asked him, okay, how much are you making on my tour? And that way, and Paul broke it down. He said, look, not one artist in this business has not been taken advantage of. And then when you look into this thing, and I'm going to sound like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put on my conspiracy brother hat on now.
Wait.
When you
mark it down.
When you look at all of the, I guess, power players, whatever you want to call them, in media, in athletics, in entertainment, they all have a certain look and gender, and none of them play an instrument. None of them play the game. And yet they're calling the shots, and I'm not in the room. Fuck that. That has to change. Now, I feel better.
Yeah. All right.
And let me double down on Spotify. Fuck you.
Whoa.
They don't pay their artists anything. They get these checks to artists for like 1 million plays. Oh, here's a check for 47 cents. What? No. No. I think the whole streaming model is flawed. The artist gets nothing, and that is not the way it is. Why should the label, and they're not doing this anymore, but why should the label come to you, the artist, to say, hey, I'll give you $100,000. You make your album. I'll sell it. By the way, the album belongs to me too. Fuck out of here, man. No. It's ludicrous. Don't get, like Prince was saying, don't be, and Anthony said the same thing, don't be happy for the opportunity. Hey, my song's on the radio. Okay, that's great. What are you getting from it? Barry Gordy, I'm looking at you. All the label heads did all that. It is reprehensible how they did artists like this. It's just horrible. And it's still going on. I'm looking at you. What's that guy's name? Simon fucking Cowell. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You lock in these kids on these American Idol bullshit deals. Even if they don't win, you lock them in and they can't do anything else. Nah, man, something's wrong here.
Yeah, I mean, and at this point, too, you would think that we would know better. And some people would rather I guess some people say, you know what, I want to get in the game so bad. I know they're about to get me, but I don't care.
Yep.
And I guess then hey, you are a willing participant. I can't be, they ain't fighting. I mean, ain't no problem. Then that's
I can't begrudge them either. I mean, if you don't have any other options, I can't be mad at you. But hopefully, on your next deal, you get your shit right.
Yeah.
The guys who really broke out of that label bullshit system, and they get no credit for it. Rap guys. My man, Master P, I couldn't name 4 of his songs, but he owns his masters from day one. He's controlled his distribution channels. He owns his stuff, and he gets the bulk of the revenue and income from it, which is how it should be because he created it.
Yeah, shout out to Jay Prince, man. That's enough.
Yeah.
Go read his book. It's a lot of game.
I mean, we got a little. He's problematic right now, but you got to shout out Jay-Z for having the foresight to go and buy Tidal and make that what it is right now. It's definitely an industry disruptor,
and it should be. It should be.
All right.
Because the industry is broken.
Yeah, man. So yeah, some good conversation. Like I said, the beautiful ones. Get your pre-order. Go. We gonna be. That's day 0. We gonna be on that one heavy. I'm also very curious. Is there gonna be an audiobook version? I don't think they've announced who is reading that. I'm very curious to see who reads that.
Well, I like to break the news on that. It'll be me.
That would be a trip.
I mean, well, we know you can do the curse words.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I was saying it jokingly, but shit, it would be kind of tight. They should get my man Scotty Baldwin, man. Just have him do it in his Prince voice. That might be a little too much for people, but that would be a cold listen. But yeah, man, I can't wait for that.
They can get different members or different people throughout his years.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna read it. This is what I'm gonna do. Because I gotta have it day one. Actually, I'll be at the bookstore the minute it opens. That's what, Tuesday. Be there 9 a.m. Boom. I'm gonna get the hardback. I believe it's hardcover. I'll probably get the Kindle version. It shows on my phone. So that's what I'll be reading. And then I'll probably end up getting the audio joint, depending on who will read it. If there's something extra on that, so I like to listen on my commute. So yeah, I'm going all in. You know what I'm saying? And if it is as advertised, and it's the handbook from Prince, oh, you better believe. You better believe. He's giving up game, man. Please, that's it. So
they probably end up getting Spike Lee, which I'd be okay with it. I'm just saying. I
couldn't see him reading it, but I don't know if he's audio. But you got to perform the book, and I think it would just sound like Spike reading. But I don't know.
Yeah.
So one thing I didn't know until this article came out, I didn't know he had a collaborator, because when he passed away, all I heard was he had written like 50 pages himself. I didn't know he was sitting down with this Dan cat and talking it out. So that means we don't know how many meetings they had. We don't know how much Dan has. And if this article is just a taste, like you said, Mike, this is going to be a headbuster for a lot of people.
Yeah. I would imagine whatever the 50 pages or whatever. I would imagine they'll probably print that as it looks
would
be part of the book. Like, here is his actual handwriting, pages, and then they'll probably, I would imagine, if it's not that many pages, they'll transcribe it and have it typed to the second part of it. Then there's probably going to be Dan's sort of recollection type of what we see in this article of some of their conversations or what was guiding this book and different things. I would bet that's how that book would be sort of broken. So that is going to be because you couldn't, if they just put it out and it was just his pages, it's probably would be pretty thin book, which I still wouldn't have no problem with that. But I would imagine we're talking about it. This is this Random House, big publishers. And, there's going to be, I would not be surprised if there'll be some level of explaining in this book. So they ain't going to just let his words come out raw like that. So that will have my man as sort of buffer. And just as he's doing this in the article, and it's not a bad thing, but giving some other context of, well, we were talking about this. And you know what I mean? Like, because now if it was up to me and they didn't care about sale, well, actually, they'd be like, just put this shit up. Just print it as is. And if they had parts on there that was kind of going in or somewhat questionable, oh well. What is this? Tulsa's part? Oh well. But I know that. But I get it. They know they're not gonna let it rock like that. So, but I'm happy with however it come. But I can imagine that's how they'll have the stuff in his writing with his fours and the U's and all that. But they want to have other people to be able to read it too. So they'll probably type that out and have that section in there. Now, obviously, there's going to be pictures. I don't know how it got out, but looks like a picture from the book came out. I posted it online. Some pictures of Prince. And then there's some buttons I assume were Prince's. And one of them said Black Power. Other one button said Prince Roger Nelson Jr., I believe. So if they letting that rock, then that's why I said, oh, okay. They just letting it go. So I like that. Is this, huh? Is the estate, you know how they be selling everything? Are they going to start selling Black Power buttons?
If it's the one that's from France, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll be waiting. But since you want to monetize everything he had, why don't you start? Well, let's see if they put that one up there for sale. Let's see who wears them. I'm joking, but I'm not. But anyway, I'm excited. Ladies and gentlemen, I know y'all excited. I know y'all got a lot to say about this. Please leave it in the comments. We want to know. We definitely want to know. Anything else I'm forgetting, Prince-wise, before we wrap this thing up?
Nah, can't think of anything.
All right. Man, shout out to all of the Prince family and fans out there. I'm trying to think some people got stuff going on. I see Andre Simone. Shout out to him. He looks like he's working on some new stuff. He's dropping some videos, the band rehearsing and some live concert. I hear that the return to the funk is coming, so I'm all ready for that. I see the MPG, they continue to do their thing out there, playing and whatnot. Didn't the Revolution play the halftime show?
Yes. Yes, they played the Vikings home opener last week.
Yeah, salute. That's dope. That's dope.
And mentioning MPG.
Say it again.
I said, I see they ain't on code.
What's that?
Help me out.
No, I was saying the NFL boycott. I'm like, oh, you playing the NFL halftime show?
Hilarious.
Okay. Moving right along here. Shout out to Liv Warfield, definitely. She wrote on Twitter a couple days ago, I think yesterday, she was in Minneapolis rehearsing with the MPG. She's walking through downtown and runs into Jimmy and Terry.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. Don't let me run into Jimmy. I'd be dick right. Pause. So I'd be, Jimmy. Oh, man, Terry, man. What about that time? Youngin, gotta calm down, bro. When you did the funk, when you did the bass, huh? I'd be like, who is it? Whose man is this? But anyway.
See, Mike, you're cooler than I am. I would be like my man off that episode of New Girl when he saw Prince.
Hilarious.
Wow.
Hilarious. All right. Well, let's so shout out to everybody doing the family. I know they out there active. St. Paul, man, he stay getting the bag. He stay working. That's my dude. Shout out to St. Paul. He got a podcast. I don't know if it's out yet, but he's working on a podcast. Shout out to him. Brown Mark, I see. They putting out music, with the bad boys at Paisley. The cats from Maserati. Active. It's good, man. Cats, everyone should keep doing their stuff, man. Of course, Morris. Stay bagged. Stay on the road. They ain't gonna never stop until the casket drop, which ain't gonna happen for a while. And like I said, when that book dropped, day one, please let Morris do the audio book. Just let him read it himself. That would be so dope.
That'd be cool, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even read it. I would just listen to that. I want to hear him. That would be dope. Like day one, man. All right, let's get up out of here. Any last thing? Big Sexy, where can I find you online?
Same places as usual, the same stomping grounds over at Facebook, Mark Wiggins, Instagram, Mark Wiggins 2, and Twitter, WSE Mark. And I got a like from my girl Ida last night. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. And Pooh. All right.
Well, in a minute, you can catch me changing a diaper.
Hey, that's the real work.
But online, Twitter and Instagram, and @Pooh, and got some things in the work. Hopefully, they come to fruition in the next month or so.
All right. Always, you can find us at podcastjuice.net. Damn, people have websites anymore. I guess they do. But check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Even Instagram. But yes, thank you so much for listening. Hey, work it like a job. We'll see you next time.
Lovers for tomorrow, even if we're far away, never ever sorrow, 'cause you occupy my heart.
Thank you.